We do try and help exhibitors as much as can because we want them to succeed. We've all been to shows, any shows in any industry, where you walk down an aisle and you see bad stands. And a bad stand is one that's not welcoming, it's not obvious. They're sitting there on their phones, or they might be eating their lunch, or they're talking to each other. An exhibition does need some work, so you want to book early and be ready, and then you can book your flights and hotels and get all the good rates. The other thing you want to do is tell everyone you're going to be at the show. So pre-show promotion is really important. It helps to drive traffic straight to your stand. I mean, obviously we promote the shows, but the exhibitor can promote their own presence. Stand design, the most important two things. One, be professional. Don't just sticky tape things on the wall. Think about what you want on the walls and what you want in terms of furniture, because when people walk past your stand, they look professional and I know what they do.
Your body language on the stand is, I think, is really, really important. Don't put people in your stand who don't want to probably be there or probably aren't the best people person.
And actually, you know who's great on stands is your best franchisees, because they love the brand.
So welcome to the Franchise Marketer podcast. And joining me today is Tim Collett, who is the founder of the Franchise Expo, which is held around Australia in Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne, which is coming up. And I thought I'd just get you on today to talk about expos and how franchise brands can maximize what they pay to be at the expo, what's some things you've seen from brands over the years, and just talk about expos. Are they making a bit of a comeback, obviously, with so much people online stuff and people sort of making this trend towards in real life events? So let's first of all start with Tim. How did you actually get involved with franchising and the expo to start?
Yeah, g'day, Joel, and great to be on board. I'd love to say I'm the founder of the Expo, but actually it's almost 40 years old. I was only young when that started. It started back in the 80s, and a great event, and it's run constantly ever since. Funnily enough, I got into Expos about 35 years ago, and I spent most of my time in food exhibitions. But because of the company I worked for, the first show I ever actually worked on was the Franchising Expo in Brisbane in 1993. Right. So I have been in and around this show for a very long time, but I spent a lot of time in food exhibitions. I got into exhibitions through boat shows and being a boatie, and I just loved the industry. But back in about 2012, the company that launched the show and ran the show put it on the market, and I was out on my own at that point, and I thought, this is a great show. I love it. It's been a little bit underrun for a few years, and so we acquired the show from the company that launched it. And since that time, we brought some of the old team back on, and we've really invested in the event and grown it back up. And I love the event. I've been now running it for 15 years. Yeah. And it's really going well. It's always been a good performer, but at the moment it does seem to be a lot of resurgence.
Yeah, and do you want to talk about some of the things you've done to sort of renew it or refresh it? Because I know you've added a new component to it recently as well. So you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we have. Look, a show has two important parts. One is the exhibitors and one's the visitors. And you need to have a lot of visitors and a lot of exhibitors, for a successful show. And to do that, we've spent a lot of time building the audience, being more clever about how we market the event. And, for a live event, we also do a lot of online marketing for the event. So the two are very complementary, and we're getting better at that. We are getting good exhibitors in the show, and that helps to have a few well-known brands to bring people in. And then you're right. Yeah, last year we launched a whole new parallel show. We call that Start Your Own Business Expo. And the idea of that was to broaden the appeal of the event, try and pull in people who perhaps have that great idea. They've always wanted to launch their own thing, and they didn't come to a franchising show because they thought they had the idea, or maybe they were scared of the word franchising. Some people just think they have the wrong idea of franchising. They don't realize what a gateway it is to working for yourself. And so we've launched Start Your Own Business. It's all about helping people with a big idea. It's got lawyers, it's got accountants, it's got marketing people, it's got promo people who can help you actually start a business. And what we've seen is it's pulled in a younger audience and a more entrepreneurial audience. And of course, while they're there, they're also going through the Franchising Expo next door. They're the same people. They're people who want to work for themselves. And so it has helped us to build up that audience and get a whole new set of people through. And starting a business by yourself is bloody hard. I know that. I did it. It's hard. And when they come to the show, they say, well, here's one I prepared earlier. Here's a business that's already set up and it's got all the support and all the branding and all the systems. That's worked. And that's been exciting to see. And our last 3 shows have had, crowds have been the best crowds in 10 years. So that's been really satisfying.
Yeah. And why do you think that is? Do you think just because, I think entrepreneurship and business now, like obviously cost of living is going up. And I think people, if they're on a salary, and the costs just keep going up, right? They think, geez, I've got to do something because if I don't do something, I can't keep up. And obviously AI now is coming in and a lot of corporates are starting to look around and what can we do? Is that sort of where you think the upticks come from?
Look, there's the world's a really interesting place at the moment, and I'd like to think we're just really good at what we do, but that's probably not the main driver. The main driver is these sort of mega trends. Funnily enough, through COVID, a lot of people got quite used to the idea of being at home, and some people travelled through COVID without, pretty easy, really. Some people didn't. And then after COVID, a lot of people were thinking about where they wanted to work, where they're going to work. And something I think we're seeing a bit of a mega trend is people are maybe losing faith in the corporation, maybe losing faith in the lifetime job and thinking, I don't know that my job's going to exist with AI, and I'm not sure that my company's going to look after me. And maybe now is the time I need to think about going out on my own, having a bit more freedom, being able to build something up. And I think that really is a trend, which is, funny enough, probably some of us didn't see it coming, but I think there really is a trend back to people wanting to work for themselves. And the other trend is that people want real experiences. AI and our reliance on the web has probably made people a little bit distrustful of things that are online. We've all seen deep fakes and we don't necessarily trust what we see online. So we actually want to go and talk to real people and we want to have real experiences. We see this, people in terms of recreation and other things, they want to do real things. And I think we're seeing the same thing in information and business events, that people like to go to real things. The death of live events, the death of exhibitions has been called for the last 26 years. I think since about 2000, the internet is going to kill you. Global financial crisis is going to kill you. Websites, digital marketing is going to kill you. But the fact of the matter is people still trust people. People buy from people. People want to see who's behind the brand. It's not dissimilar from what you do with your videos, Joel. They're real and they're real people. Well, the exhibition is the same, but it's actual real.
Yeah, you can't
face to face.
You can't replace face to face. Like with the podcast now, like me personally, like it's better to do it in person, but obviously I don't have the time today, but we're doing it online. But you're right, nothing can replace face to face, no matter what you do. Now I was going to talk about then the actual how to maximize the expo. Like I'd love it if we do it, but like Jim's just like, if he can't attribute a direct franchise sale to it, he won't do it. And you guys have been kind enough over the years. He does a talk and obviously there's James to at a booth, but Jim's very logical like that. I'm sure there's some brands which are like that as well. So what would you sort of say to them? Will the sort of the franchisor or maybe the someone in the executive team who sort of has a similar mindset to what Jim would say?
Yeah, look, it's interesting, isn't it? Because, exhibitions are not a cult and they're not a religion. They're a tool. And I would say use every tool you've got. It's you need to touch people in different ways, from different angles. And an exhibition really is a very powerful way of doing that. It's the only place where people are going to come to you in a live physical environment and say, hey, I want to get involved in franchising. Tell me about your franchise. So I would say people who it's not binary. Say, shows don't work. This works. Everything works if you do it well. You really do need to look at shows. And even if you don't have a lot of sites left, you should still be doing a show because we all want to grow the franchising industry. We want to tell people the franchise model works and it is good. And it does. We need to be out there telling people that. And then we get resales too. If you've sold all your sites, well, then you have resales of existing sites. I think you've got to be in the game. And the trick is, if you're going to do it, lean into it and do it well, and then you will get the results.
So what does doing it well mean to you then? Like obviously you want to have a good sign up process there, like obviously have like a tablet or something, or who are the brands or what have you seen over the years, which is like, that's a fantastic stand and that's how you do it properly?
Yeah, great. That's a great question. And we do try and help exhibitors as much as can because we want them to succeed because then they'll come back. We've all been to shows, any shows in any industry where you walk down an aisle and you see bad stands. And a bad stand is one that's not, it's not welcoming, it's not obvious. They're sitting there on their phones, or they might be eating their lunch, or they're talking to each other. And we're all, we're pleasant, polite people. If we think they don't want to talk to us, we won't talk to them. So look, if we go back, we've probably got about 10 or 12 steps we'll tell people. Choose the right show, book early so you got lots of time to plan. Like, we all leave things late these days. We book concerts late, we book flights late. An exhibition does need some work. So you want to book early and be ready, and then you can book your flights and hotels and get all the good rates. So do that. The other thing you want to do is tell everyone you're going to be at the show. So pre-show promotion is really important. It helps to drive traffic straight to your stand. I mean, obviously we promote the shows, but the exhibitor can promote their own presence. It drives traffic directly to their stand. It also shows how active you are in the marketplace. You do this brilliantly, Joel, but everybody knows that you guys are active and doing everything. Well, a lot of other companies don't do much activity. Well, here's something they can easily talk about on their socials. Hey, we're going to be at the show. We give them a free ticket code. So send it out. Here's a free ticket. Just use this code to come to the show. It's a pre-show promotion. Lots of time to plan. Stand design. The most important two things. One, be professional. Don't just sticky tape things on the wall. Think about, give yourself a little bit of time. Think about what you want on the walls and what you want in terms of furniture, because you don't want too much furniture, but you do want, when people walk past your stand, think, they look professional and I know what they do. So if you're a hamburger shop, you have a picture of a hamburger, you have a picture of the shop. It'd be lovely if you could build a shop, but that would be very expensive. So some really good quality, full-size graphics showing the interior of a hamburger shop. Because people are walking down an aisle, takes you probably 3 or 4 seconds to walk past a 3 metre by 3 metre stand. You want people to stop. And if you're thinking, gee, I really would be interested in running a food outlet, a QSR. You walk past a picture of a great big hamburger shop, you're going to stop. And so stand design, be professional, be obvious. You don't need to spend a huge amount of money. In fact, you don't want too much furniture because people only sit down. You just want professional, obvious. And the next step at the show is give your staff some tips and training about talking to people. They're out of the comfort zone. We sit in our offices talking on the phone or going out and seeing people. Well, the exhibition is a little bit different. And a lot of us, we just throw our salespeople in there with no training. So just some basic training on interacting with people in an exhibition environment. And that's about being open, being welcoming, not eating your lunch, not being on your phone, not catching up with those essential emails that you must answer on a Saturday afternoon because they're so important. Turn the phone off or put it away. Look up and down the aisle. Get out there. Talk to people. They're there for a reason. They're happy to be talked to. And a lot of us get a bit shy. But no, jump out, talk to people, and open-ended questions. What are you looking for today? So not yes, no, but what are you looking for today? Have you ever thought about being involved in a food franchise? Have you had any experience, in this sort of area? Are you looking at any other brands at the moment? They're okay to ask those questions because people are there to figure out what franchise they want, and they're happy to be asked those questions. Follow up then is another one that a lot of people miss out on. They have all those conversations. They might even hand out brochures. People are probably, they're not going to call you. You've got to call them. You've got to be proactive. And you're right. You need a system to collect their details and some basic info. So you can, some brands have their own systems and like to use those. And the American guys they are really good at this stuff and they do it really well. But everyone can do it. Engage, ask questions, collect the details, and then follow up. People don't carry business cards anymore. Pen and paper can work. Although what we do now, we do have a scanning system. It's an app you download on your phone, and exhibitors can scan the visitor tickets, which is also on their phone. We don't have name badges. It is a public show, but everyone has a ticket to get in. You can scan that. It's a system we brought in last year. It's getting better. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. And that's a system you can use. And we've given them free to every exhibitor this year to use those. So yeah, be professional, be planned, get your staff fired up, follow up straight after the show. You do those things, you're going to get a good result.
I do think stand presence is a big thing. Like, people there, they got their arms crossed. Are they inviting? Are they actually looking at people? I do think when I've noticed them come through a few times there, you definitely notice the big difference. Three people in the corner huddled up, just looking sideways at you or whatever it is, and helping me go in there. And I think Yeah, your body language on the stand is, I think, really, really important. I think that's hugely important. Don't put people in your stand who don't want to probably be there or probably aren't the best people person, or you sort of think you're just wasting a bit of, your time there.
You are. And actually, who's great on stands is your best franchisees
Yeah.
because they love the brand. And look at the way the gyms guys talk about their brand. Your good operators, they love the brand and they love to talk about the brand and they love to bring people into the brand because it makes the whole thing stronger. And a couple of franchises is not a bad thing to bring in.
Good point.
I think it's the most important bit of the show is your people and having them in the right mindset.
Absolutely. And over the years, what's the best stand, or what have you seen what have been the best things that have stuck out to you maybe that a business has done?
Yeah, look, there've been some great stands over the years. It's probably the people that jump out. I mentioned earlier that some of the international brands, they go from show to show and they really are very well trained in engaging with people. And I think that's always really impressive. They will practice and they'll have the open-ended questions and they will move people through. And some people might think that sounds bad. It's not. It's helping people actually to find out about their brand and what they want to do. So they always really impress me. You've got companies, Larap, who took 6 square meters in the Brisbane show and they saw the potential. And then in Sydney show, they did a beautiful stand. It was a 18 square meter stand, so one of the largest stands. And it was simple but professional. And they printed the 6 panels on the stand. It's an easy way of doing it. And it was just super well branded and pictures of their product. And that was, and then the people were in really well dressed, all matching and all bubbly and excited. It really is it's a lovely brand anyway, but really, really they did very well. They didn't tell people to go out and build a full custom stand for 20 or 30 grand. You don't do that. Just keep it simple, keep it professional, keep it obvious, get your people fired up. Food companies, sampling is a great way to get people engaged. It does take a bit of work. You've got to jump through quite a few hoops. But if you are a food company, you can sample. That does get a lot of attention. We've seen some great ones. Coffee Club, who do sample coffee. And again, they printed their back wall and they replicated a shop. And it was just, oh, look at that. That's Coffee Club. I know it. It's a beautiful looking stand. The staff were there. People engaged. They had a great show.
The one I remember was Squire's Loft did it, and they had the smoke coming up. That was so good. I remember I was chatting to a gentleman on the stand about it, and that was a good way to get people there, and that was a pretty popular one with the samples.
Yeah, and all the exhibitors around were coming and talking to me saying, "Stop the smoke." It's a beautiful product too. Gosh, and the smell of it was amazing. I took the whole team to Squire's Loft after that show to have a meal. But boy, oh boy, that the smoke was an issue, and
it was Jeff on the stand. I think I was talking.
Jeff from Business Essentials was there, and every time I told Jeff off, I got a wry little smile from him, which was. Look, good on him. Good on him pushing the barriers, but we that's why there are a few rules and regulations. We don't want any exhibitor to stop every other exhibitor having good shows. So, Jeff's great. He reined it in the next time around, and it still worked.
And I remember, and also with what people actually hand people in the stands, because I think, how would you stand out with that? Because I think everyone's doing the same thing. Like, here's an information pack.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit light on in details, really glossy, nice photos and stuff, and a few trinkets and this and that. But like, if you were doing a franchise brand, and like you had unlimited reign to put together, let's say, the ultimate pack for a prospect or whatever, what stuff would you be giving in it?
Look, that's an interesting one, and the real marketers and the franchise marketers probably better answer at that. I think what I would say is just in terms of the package is don't give away too much.
Yeah.
You want them to remember your brand, so it's nice to give them something that they will keep. And it might just be a promotional item. It might be a voucher to come to the store, which is great and appreciated, I think, by people. Sometimes I say the best thing about a brochure is it gets rid of people, because you give them a brochure, they walk away. Yeah. And what you want to do is get their details and then mail them a brochure or email them a brochure. And that way you get their details, you make sure they get it, you make sure it's at their home, and you can follow up, because we all walk around shows or conferences. We go to the franchise convention, you get a big bag full of stuff. Now, Do I get home and tip most of it out? Yes, I do. And I think most people do. So it's better for both sides if someone's really interested that you get their details and you send them something. But that doesn't stop you having some squeezy balls or coupons or something so that they actually do remember your brand when they go home. I think that's not a bad thing. But you do want to get their details. Again, get their details, follow up.
And with brands as well, how else could they maximize an expo? Have you seen anything clever from over the years from doing it, or is there anything else that you've seen maybe on stands or something that people have been doing? Or
look, it's about engagement, isn't it? So what can you do to get people to stop? I don't think having a golf range, if you're not a golfing franchise, is probably going to do much for you. I think it's got to be related. You know, if it's a photo booth company, you know, to have a working photo booth there is fantastic. We have an option for people to have a vehicle display. If they've got a stand, then they could put a vehicle in. So if it's a mobile franchise, you know, it's great that people can go over and touch and feel and jump inside the vehicle. Engagement, you know, helps a hell of a lot. And if there is something you do, if you are a kids play centre, it's normally families who decide to start a business. So you want to talk to both sides of the family. And if the kids, and a lot of people bring the kids to the show, which is fine. We love that. You know, if you're a play centre, put some play gear on the floor. Some of the art studios will have an artist there drawing, or they'll get the kids to draw some art. I think anything that makes it even more real is great. And I don't know if you've ever been one of the franchise shows in China, Joel, but
no, I haven't.
They're insane.
I can imagine.
Franchising is exploding, and to get things built and created in China is obviously a lot lower. So they will build a whole store. And they will build a whole play center, and they will be serving food, and they go full on. It's a crazy and loud music and the whole bit. Now, our shows are great. They're fun. It's a little bit simpler than that, but it doesn't mean you can't do some simple things just to demonstrate what you do and get people engaged.
And I see it as a good opportunity for content for these providers. You know, if you're standing there and you're around all day, like just get a video person. It's not that much, and you can do a hell of a lot of content. And that's what we always used to do at the gyms one. Like, it was always a content opportunity for us. And that's what I liked it for, really, because you can just get that background of the action happening, really good footage, photos, which you can't get anywhere else, really. So it's a great opportunity for that. Yeah, as a set.
And look, we all know it's hard to get content, isn't it? Like, you talk about yourself, you know, you want to be online regularly talking about yourself. Well, here's something that's really interesting. So grab some footage of yourself walking around the show. We also have the opportunity, which we offer. You know, we have educational seminars right through the day. Now, they're not promos. You can't get up and just talk about your brand.
Yeah.
But if you get up and talk about, you know, the value of franchising, how to choose a franchise, how to succeed in franchising, you know, we've had Jim up there a few times, and he draws a massive crowd. That's a great. We don't charge for that. We just pick the interesting people. If you have to be exhibiting, but if you're an interesting person, we'll get you up there. Well, everyone should have a story to tell, and they should think about that. And again, you should film it and put it on your socials.
100%. That's it's a great bit of content. You know, we filmed it in full and put them online, and you know, we still use that for like transcripts for posts and things like that. And then we still repurpose that, you know, believe from like 3-4 years ago. So I think that's a great way to get some good content as well whilst you're there, and that's a really good way to maximize it. It wouldn't cost that much really to get a videographer in for the day, with a couple of days to do it. So.
No, I mean, if you're really tight, you can even get someone half decent with their phone and capture some good stuff. Some stuff is better than no stuff, and that's sort of full wheel what we were saying earlier. It's not binary. Like, it's not live events or online. The two actually fit together really well, and you get them both working. It's great. You generate content, you generate new followers, you can generate a database and then send them stuff and get them following you online, send them videos. So it all works together.
I think it does. And I think you're right. The in real life stuff, they call IRLs, coming back. Like, you got businesses now running run clubs, like Yoshi does like a run club and stuff. Like, you know, who would have thought, you know, Frozen Yogurt's now doing a run club. So these events, which people are sort of craving a bit more connection, I guess, are now coming back, really forming an important part of the market.
Yeah, Run Club's the new dating app, isn't it?
It is.
That's what I hear.
Yeah. And I was going to say as well, with franchising overall, because franchising, I do think, is a misunderstood concept. And you're right about what you said about the small business, you know, part of your show now will be getting people in who would have been put off by the word franchise. So you know, what are your thoughts around that? Because you've obviously been in the industry for a number of years now, and how do you see it?
Yeah, I have. And look, we many of us were there in this, you know, 2017, 2018, when there was a lot of chatter, and a couple of big brands did do the wrong thing by their franchisees, and the media grabbed onto that. They ignored the other 1,200 franchises that were doing a great job, and all the tens of thousands of very happy franchisees. Well, undoubtedly, there were some bad cases, and there was a lot of really bad media, and franchising did get a lot of negativity around it. And it's still, I think, on some social media posts, it's almost a sport to jump in and pretend you're an expert and say franchising doesn't work. Franchising does work. It's an obvious model. If you have a successful business, why wouldn't you replicate it in the next suburb, in the next city? It's just obvious. But we don't share the good news stories enough. Having said that, I think we're well past COVID now, and we've got people interested in starting businesses. And we are seeing, I believe, well, we are literally, in terms of numbers coming to shows, absolute resurgence and interest in working for yourself and in working in franchising, and people seeing franchising as the path to get into their first business or to get into their lifetime business. They're seeing franchising as the way to do it, and they should. They should. To jump in, I imagine I started an exhibition company myself. Fortunately, I'd worked in the industry, but to jump into a business where someone's going to give you a known brand, promote the whole chain, give you the systems, give you the training, you would. To share a small part of the profit, you absolutely would.
And what I think brands don't do well enough, and they should start doing better, is really doing a comparison for people and outlining it right. If you're going to start a cafe or whatever it is by yourself, this is the actual cost as an independent, and this is the cost with us or whatever it is, and really start showing that to people. Because I think we get all the time, don't give Jim, don't pay Jim every month, just do a few Facebook ads in a group and away you go. And it's funny, we've got a lot of independent business owners now coming and switching over to gyms, because I know how hard it is marketing and all that sort of stuff is, but the general punter I just don't think has a really good understanding of the true cost of doing business. And a lot of people who take fun of franchising, I think they're mostly employees. I don't think they're actual independent business owners, because they would actually know the true cost of it. So I think there still needs to be a really good education part about franchising, and I do think the media really doesn't do us a good service, because you're right, they never bloody promote a good story like someone's come from overseas and bought 3 stores in 5 years and bought 4 houses or whatever. It's always, they never ever do that, right? And they're never ever going to do that. So we've got to do it, unfortunately, ourselves.
We do, but I really, for all the reasons we've said, I think the next few years are going to be golden years for franchising, and in terms of people getting in and actually people making a real success of it.
Yeah, I think they will be. I think it's going to be a good model. I think the American stuff sort of seeping over here. A lot of content on Instagram, because they obviously have a lot of franchise brokers over there who do their own marketing, and they do a lot of Instagram stuff comparing Macca's and Subway or whatever it is. That sort of stuff seeping over here, and I think that franchising media is seeping over here, which is helping influence people to go this sort of route as well. Yeah,
and it is interesting. Going to America, I was over at the conference in Las Vegas last year. There's no negativity around franchising. It's an absolute success story, and they're very proud of it, and they're very proud to share the good news stories and how much money you can make. We sort of don't do that here. That it can actually be a really good way to get freedom and independence and financial security. We don't tend to do that here. I think it's not.
I find it an interesting dynamic. I have this argument still with franchisors. They get shitty with me sometimes. That'll put up, $500K with one employee, and I have to argue with them over, well, you've got to, people are money motivated. So why not put it out there they can make $500K revenue with a mowing business, right? Whereas in America, you're right. They owns 47 Starbucks or owns this, and he earns $50 million a year, and everyone's like, good on you, mate. Whereas in Australia, everyone's like, that's not possible. What's the actual net profit? Blah, 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 blah. So it's interesting, the mindset shift.
It is, and they have of course multi-unit people who own multiple franchises. And I met people at the conference. The franchisees were bigger than the franchisor.
Yep. We had Rocco talk at the fans conference, and I think he said there was 20 franchisee coming on private jets at their conference or something like that, which were franchise.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And not everyone, of course, but it is possible.
I think there's a different attitude towards it as well. I think just the entrepreneurial mindset in America is just a little bit different here. Whereas with here, if you try and pull your head out and talk about money or something like that online, if someone wants to immediately shoot it down, and it's not possible to sort of try and bring you down to where their level is.
I think you're right. Americans really celebrate entrepreneurialism. That's refreshing to see when you're in our business, which is helping people get into their own business.
Well, I think now as well,
you take pride.
I think now as well, insolvencies with businesses have never been higher as well. So, if you're looking at doing a business, like from a risk perspective, franchising should definitely be on your radar, regardless of what someone thinks of it, because just from a risk point of view, you're going to be more likely to succeed than doing it yourself.
No question.
Yeah.
No question.
And with your business, Tim, as well, how did you, let's take it back to your business journey. I don't think anyone's ever asked you this. So you worked for an events company, as you were saying, and then you decided to go out on your own. So did you have an event already to go out and start with? Or did you just
No.
we had an event? Was it a boat show? What was it when you first did it?
We bought our events. So events can be bought and sold. I guess like any other business. Events are more important than the company in some respects. This show's been running for 38 years. It'll run for another 38 years. So I was with a multinational, and I then decided to leave and look around things I wanted to do. And I did work in a few different industries, but I really decided that my thing was running events. I loved it. And so the opportunity came up to buy a food show. There were two big food shows in Australia. I ran one. I bought the other one. So I did sit out for two years. So I did sit out my gardening leave, and I bought a show called Food Service Australia, and it was so nice to get back into something I knew. It really is a wonderful industry from our viewpoint, because we get to meet so many people, and to work with so many companies, and we're there to help them grow. When they have a great show, they grow. And I remember food shows back in 94, Find Food 94, a young lady and a mum wheeled a trailer in, and that was Carolyn Creswell, Carmen's Muesli.
Oh.
And at that show that show or the next one, she met Qantas, and she met someone else. And then since then they've grown and grown and grown and grown, and stuff like that is fantastic. And so we bought that show. It was a bit tired as well, but we rebuilt that, got the band back together from a few years earlier. So you see us on site, and most of the year we're sitting in an office like I am today, and we're calling exhibitors, trying to get exhibitors involved, thinking about special events to attract visitors, and then running a visitor camp. And most of our time is in the office. And we need a good team around us. It was a year or two later when we were approached actually by the Diversified, who were running the franchise show, and they said, "Look, we're looking to sell. Doesn't fit in our portfolio," and we took that on. There are systems, there's commonalities, but you've really got to understand the industry as well, I think, and love the industry to be successful at it. We've got to immerse ourselves, and we only ran the two shows, the food shows and the franchising shows, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, and sometimes Perth with those shows. So we were reasonably focused, and then the shows grew. We got through COVID, which was a painful time. We literally lost millions of dollars through COVID, but we kept the staff, we kept the shows out there, came back strong. But 2 years ago, we actually sold the food shows. So we built them to a level where they were much bigger, but they were going to keep growing, and we sold to a bigger organizer. But we kept the franchise shows, and now we've got a nice, tight little team, absolutely committed to the show and to the industry. And we come into the office every day, and we jump on the phone or we jump on the emails, and we talk to potential exhibitors. We talk to our current exhibitors, help them get a better result. Yep. We get speakers, we get news out, we run a visitor campaign for a couple of months before each show. And then every so often, as we do in a few weeks, we get on site and run the event, which is, you see it all come together, it's fabulous.
And what's been the key then to being an entrepreneur for so long now, Tim? Because you've been doing business for yourself for a long time. And what would you say to people? Like, obviously, there's people looking at doing the business for the first time, coming for the event. What would you sort of say to anyone? Like, how do you sustain being in business for yourself for so long?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. It has been a while. I think I was lucky that I did work for a big company first, and I learned. And back in the 90s, we were lucky. We were really given a lot of ownership to run the events and learn about the events. You had to be kind of entrepreneurial in that business to actually be successful, because every show is a new show, and you've got to make it a success. And what is it? Is it natural energy, or is it just the ability to learn and adapt? Starting a business, when I think back, if I knew how hard it was going to be, I'm not sure that I would have done it, to be honest. But you do, one foot in front of the other one. and suddenly you're very extended, and you made a lot of commitments, and you've got to deliver. I don't know if it's a personality or something you learn, but you keep going, you keep expanding, you keep thinking new things. Fairly quickly, you've got to develop a team around you who will support you and complement you in that, and that is so critical to find the right people, because you can't do everything. But those people do need a leader, or they need someone who loves the business and works hard and can see where they want to be. And I hope I've been that person to my teams over the years. I can still see where we can go with this event now, and we'll keep pushing. And
where do you think you could take it then? Like, where do you think you could push it to?
Well, there's 1,300 franchise systems in Australia, and we've probably got 150 at the show.
Right.
I'd like to see more of the industry represented there, and I think the industry, every player should be thinking, well, I should be there. I want to grow my brand, but I also want to promote franchising as a model, and I want to promote the industry, and I want to show people how active we are. It'd be nice to get more franchise involved, big and small. And we want to keep growing the audience. And I think actually the Start Your Own Business part of the show will help us to keep growing the audience, reach out to new people who haven't thought about franchising. And because that's not tied just to franchises, that will help us to keep growing the show as well. We can bring a lot of new stuff in there. In fact, next year, we're going to launch a new section called the Trady Pavilion.
Right.
And our concept there is there's a lot of tradies out there who are employees.
Yep.
And they find it hard to think, well, I want to work for myself. How do I do that? We take the leap from employee to business owner. So we want to give them tools to do that, which will be point of sale systems. It'll be booking systems. It'll be all the legal requirements, trademarks, websites, staffing, all those things I need to worry about, government, dealing with government agencies. So we think there's a real sub-segment there for Start Your Own Business. But of course, while they're there, they'll also go and have a look at some of the more tradie-oriented franchises that exist. Jim's.
No, our guys should be there. Jim's Electrical Foundation should be there, yeah.
So it'll sit on its own. It'll be called the Trady Pavilion, but it's in the show. People will walk around the whole show. And I'm quite excited about that, because when we go out and market the show, we're almost marketed to anyone between 30 and 55.
Yeah.
Anyone with a little bit of ambition. This is the one time where we can go and find an absolute section of the market and promote them. So tradies we'll chase them down on LinkedIn. We'll chase them down through all the social media streams as well. And I want to see a lot of tradies walking through the show next year. So that's, I guess, the most exciting thing for next year.
And I was going to say as well, then maybe the final question will be for the other bunch of brands who don't do it, you can maybe speak to our Jim's divisionals maybe, but other brands who don't do it, or maybe will be like what we were saying at the start, they want to attribute a sale directly to it. What would you sort of maybe say to them about maybe getting involved next year or moving forward?
Look, have a look at it. It does work. But we all know that buying a business is a massive decision, and it takes time, and it's not, someone's not going to come to the show, see your brand for the first time and sign up. We know that it's a journey, but the show will push them quite a ways down that journey. If they're at the start, they might get there. If they're in the middle, they get to there. If they're almost there, you might get them over the line. And Curious Please actually signed up a number of franchises at the Sydney show. It's a little unusual, but they did, because they pushed them along the line. They got them there. It's a really effective touch point for moving people down that journey. Be realistic. You be at the show. You're going to see some of your current prospects. You're going to generate a lot of new prospects. There is still work to do, but the show is a really powerful tool to do that. And, it's not that expensive. The 3 metre by 3 metre stand, it's about $6,000. Spend another couple of thousand on some furniture and some graphics. It's not a huge amount of money. You can do all 3 shows, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. That's $24,000 plus some more, 30 grand. Okay, it's an investment of time and money. But gee, compare that to the cost of, an extra staff member. It's not bad. It's pretty good. And it'll motivate your staff. Don't say, well, I've got staff costs. No, they're doing that anyway. And they get really motivated by being at a show. So it's not that expensive. It is effective. Talk to us about how to get the best out of it. Lean into it. Combine it with your other marketing. And yes, you're going to get a good result.
Perfect. Well, Tim, thank you very much for joining us today. It was great to be able to talk to you, because obviously a lot of people in franchising would know you and see you at these events, and you always support it really, really well. So it's great to hear you about your story, and hopefully people who maybe aren't considering it, just reach out to yourself and the team. Just Google Franchise Expo, you'll see it there. Reach out to the guys there and maybe just get involved for next year, because you've heard today everything positive about it, which you should maybe look at doing if you haven't been doing it. So thank you very much today, Tim, for joining us.
Thanks for the opportunity, Joel. I love your work, and it's great to be on your podcast.